You're really ready to go, huh? Time to go potty? It's been a minute. It hasn't really been that long. He's just being fussy. Hey, what's up, garden friends? Jeff here. Hope you're doing well. I'm great. Look, the sun came out. You don't have any background. The sun. It's been very cloudy today, which was lovely. It has been just so dry and hot here for a while that, well, it was just nice. It was really foggy and kind of creepy, but also cozy. You know what I mean? I'm gonna take Turbo outside, get some water into this guy first. I need to water my, these guys. Pigwiculas. You know, the butterwort? Yeah? I don't know. Brain ain't working. Great way to start a video. Enjoy me stuttering and falling all over my words for the next who knows how long. Okay, yeah, I know. You're ready to go outside. Pardon the mat. It's a long story. It's not that long of a story. I figure screw it. It's, you know, a few weeks. It's going to be fine. Okay. There are things to be done. It is throwing me off, though. The pumpkins and then the gingerbread. Oh, and there's a snowman over here. No, I'm not decorating yet. It's just, I don't know if I wanted to get into it. Have a family member. Getting out of the house can be challenging for them. And for the first time in years, they wanted to go to garden at home. I'm still calling it Garden Ridge because at home is a stupid name and it's confusing when you say it. The place that took over Garden Ridge. And I said, oh, okay, because I need some flower pots. So that was perfect. And now there's Christmas decorations. Nothing I'm going to be messing with for the next few weeks, but they are here. And I really like this guy. That's all. It's fall. Not doing all that yet, but it happened. And it was a lovely time. You want to see the pots? Oh, there's some nice pots out here. Look at these. Look at how freaking nice and big those are. Too far. Way too far. That's better. These things are massive. And what a great price. I think these are 30 inch. Yes, I think. I don't know why getting in them would help me figure out how big they are. SKU just says lightweight pot on it. There's a Yeppy? I don't know what that is. Whatever that word is. Now, they have a lot of them. I remember seeing these online last spring, and I was like, oh, I should go get some of those. And I just couldn't get around to it. The at home that's nearest to my house isn't that convenient to get to. So I just hadn't gotten around to it. And then I forgot about it. Bugging me that doesn't say how big those are. I'm going to grab a measuring tape. It's not that useful to talk about these things if we don't know how big they are. I'm going to start with the outside because, you know, I'm trying to do this with one hand here. This is an old measuring tape. I'm not going to do this with one hand. 32 on the outside, so that should be about 30, hopefully, or 27 on the inside. Yeah, 27 on the inside. Good big pots, very tall. I was actually looking for a size up from this, which they did have, but those were $350. These were $129 a pop. I don't really like to get into the prices talking. Yeesh. The money talk all that often, but this is a good price for containers this size. I use a lot of big pots around here, and I see a lot of pricing on containers. Just your standard rolled rim pots, which I don't think... Oh, I do have one. The windmill palms in a 30-inch rolled rim container. It's one of these right here. They look like a great big terracotta pot, but they're plastic. I bought a set of these. I had two 30-inch pots and I think one 36-inch pot, or whatever the closest size to that is that they sell. Like sometimes it's 31 and 34. I don't know, but you know, it was somewhere in that vicinity. And it was $400, but I got 3 of them. That was a few years ago. And that was a steal. I looked to get another one of those this year. It's like between $300 and $500 for ones that were over 30 inches. So this is a very nice price. And I like the way these look better too. The sides got this nice ripple texture on it. And they're big, they're nice and tall. And they came in other colors. This isn't an infomercial for the pots. I'm excited about the purchase. I've been wanting to get some new big pots for a while. Over the summer, I ordered a pot from, I don't remember who it's from, but it's a Crescent Garden pot. And it was supposed to be a 28-inch container. And, well, here it is. It's this little thing back here. It's a nice looking pot. I do like it. But it's, you know, maybe 18 inches high. It's rather short, and I don't think it's 28 inches wide, and it was like $150 or $160. That's plastic too. These over here, I have 2 of these. There's one in the driveway. These are 28 inch containers. They're made by a company called Sony, who's still around, but they don't make the pot in this size anymore. At least not that I can find. Those were $80 a piece. Had I known that there was going to be a pandemic and everything was just going to go crazy money-wise, I would have bought a whole bunch of those back then. But hey, here we are. I like these even more. They're bigger, and they're very, very, very lightweight. They're not insulated, so that's the only downside to these. I do like a pot that has a wall in it. So this edge right here, I like for that to go all the way down and cover the whole thing. It provides a barrier between the elements and the root ball, which is really, really nice during the winter time when it's really freaking cold outside. Also makes it easier to repot things. These containers suck for repotting. So whatever goes in this, when it becomes time to repot, I may end up having to cut the pot off. I had to do that with a container. It was very similar to this a few years ago when I was repotting a Robolini palm, because you end up having this lip right here, and it's hollow. It goes right up. See it? It goes all the way up there. It's really hard to get that root ball out from that edge right there. So that's the downside. But I don't know. Hopefully, it won't come to that. You know, where I can just very slowly excavate whatever ends up going into these. I already know one of them is going to be a mule palm. I have a mule palm that's in one of those Sunny Days containers in the driveway. It's all the way down there. And the other one I'm holding on to for something else. You'll see in the future. Did you think I have something fun planned? I'm not telling you about it. Maybe I do. No, I don't. I bought two because I thought I needed to. It's one of the plants I sent away to the greenhouse for the winter time is going to need a repotting when it comes back. But I don't know for sure what's going to go in one of those. But it probably will. I would have loved to have had these when I was potting up those crab apples, because that would have matched. But the mule palm is what really needs it the most. That baby. He's so happy to be outside. We've been inside most of the day. It's been so gloomy and cloudy. It was a great day to just hang out and get things done inside. There's the mule. Very tall. And it's hard to see because there are other pots in front of it. But that's the container that it's in. So from the inside diameter, it's not going to be a huge upgrade, but it'll be something. These mule palms respond very well to being repotted. I was thinking with the other one, I may end up doing some kind of winter container, because I have this Atlas cedar over here that's been in the same container for 3 or 4 years now. It's still in its nursery can. I got this on clearance for like $20. Fantastic price. These things get pricey. But I don't want to push my luck. So maybe, potting up in that other one and throwing just a bunch of discount shrubs around it or something. Just something to look at. It'll look nice during the winter months. And yeah, I think that this will be a good upgrade. It's not a huge upgrade, but it's going to be something. Anyways, that's really neither here nor there. Here's what I've been working on for this video. So I'm going to be working on the entire week. It's time to move the plants in, which of course means dismantling the garage, because I always do this every year. We'll go, oh, it's time to move the plants, and let me take everything apart, start pulling things off the shelves, pulling things out of the attic, and start deeply organizing things that didn't really need to be organized, because once the plants are in, there'll be several months where it's harder to get around and do that. So in an effort to clean up the place and prep it, I have completely and totally trashed it. Yes, there's a dead plant in here. I didn't take it out in the springtime. It had mealybugs all over it, and I said, you can just stay right there. I brought a ficus in that wasn't doing great with the drought. It's starting to come back to life. All my aeroids are still up on the shelves over there, and I have a Musa Florida over there, and it's all going to look different by the end of this video. And I have the shelves filled up, which need new lights, but not an emergency. It can wait. I'm going to need to do something with this desk. It's broken. Got a lot of use out of this thing, though. What, like 6-7 years I've had that desk, I think? Held up really well, but now it's falling apart. It's time to get a new one. And over here, this is all stuff that I pulled out of the attic, because there are things that I don't know if I need them anymore. These are old Christmas lights that I don't know which strands work and which ones don't. The only ones that went back up in the attic are ones that work, so I have to go through all these lights and cords and then get all these. It's just organizing. A nice, deep organizing that I like to get done once a year at the most chaotic time possible, which is when I'm moving plants inside. Yeah, don't worry about all that. There's construction going on in the house. It's just going to be a never-ending pile of totes and boxes. I've just learned to live with it. Turbo, what you doing? We got to go back here. Come on. Come on. We're going to go. We're going to go back here. I'm going to be careful, this gate that's getting replaced here pretty soon. It's gotten kind of loose. The forecast is in no way suggesting that I need to put the plants inside. In fact, it's supposed to stay very beautiful. I don't know what it'll say by the time this video comes out, but I just have to get these moved in because the last 2 weeks of October, so the week after this video comes out, and then the week after that are just, I'm going to be slammed. I'm going to be so busy. And I don't want to do what I've had to do in years past, where all of a sudden we get that forecast. Because, it can go from being 75 one day to a high of 40 the next day with a chance of ice that evening in just 24 hours. And you generally get notice about that, but things aren't the same with NOAA as they used to be, or in that during tornado season. And I just don't want to be a tightly wound ball of, oh no, are all my plants going to die for the last 2 weeks of October like I usually am. So I'm just going to get ahead of it. And you want to play football? We can play football. We can try it. This doesn't have much left in it. You don't care. All right. We're going to underhand it because I'm not putting, it's not going in the pool. You can go swim, but I'm not throwing the ball in there. You can go. Go on. Enjoy. Have fun. I don't know why he would want to. That water's freaking cold. I haven't had the heater on in a while. And I have been trying this year to just do some things somewhat differently. Meaning, well, for starters, like I said, I don't want to have to rush at the last minute to get all the plants moved inside. I would like to be able to, move things in casually over the course of about 4 days, something like that. And I'm giving myself 4 days. I still have a week till this video comes out, so it's going to give me a few days to get some more tidying. Tidying. That's what needs to be done, is tidying, right? No, dismantling and putting back together of the garage. Then a few days to get things moved in and do all those things. And by doing that, I will have some transition time too, because what usually happens is I move what I want to keep inside. It'd be cool if you just stay in there. Every time you jump out, I get sopping wet. Anyways, and then I end up with a bunch of plants that are left out here, the ones I decided to not take in, and they're just frosty mush. And then I have a lot of cleanup to do, and I don't get to enjoy the planters that I have prepared to have out during the wintertime, and it distracts me from being able to do winter planters, so it just makes sense to do things this way. Only giving such a long, lengthy description of why I'm moving them in so early, because some people get really disappointed and sad when I move the plants inside. That's because I want to enjoy some time outside without the chaos, right? It'll give me some more time also to get things cleaned up and work on the garden more, instead of the plant moving being something that takes up so much energy at that really critical time in the garden when things are just crazy, crazy cold. I don't have to worry about that. And I'm getting sick of watering. This drought, it just doesn't want to end. We had lovely fog this morning, so when I came outside, I thought, oh, it rained because everything was wet, but no, it didn't. The little bit of rain we have hasn't been anything that's worthwhile to the plants. So it will just be easier to have things in the garage where I can keep the doors down. There'll be more humidity. They won't need as much water. It's just going to make life easier. So, yep, that's what's going on, and that's why doing things so early this year, I'm okay with it. I'm excited about it, and it gives me some more time to really plan things out, because sometimes I'll be like, I don't want to take that in. I don't want to mess with that. And then we'll have that snow or that frost that urged me to bring everything in, and then the next thing I know, it's, a week later, I'm going, ooh, did I really not want to take that in, or was I just over it? Yep. There it is. That's what's going on. So, hope you like the pots. Those are fun. Can't wait to get something done with those. I should get that mule palm repotted, but I think I need to focus on the garage right now. The mule palm doesn't want to be repotted this time of year anyways, but I'm doing it because that thing is hard to get through the winter time, especially with the drier air that we have. So that'll get repotted, not in this video. There's enough going on. You saw that garage. I got a lot of work to do. I'm going to hang out with Turbs for a while because clearly he's got some zoomies to get in his system and get some stuff done in the garage. Okay, so I think the first place to start here would be to go ahead and get all the tropicals pulled out from right here for various reasons. Mainly because, I would like to go ahead and get all the roses that are set over here placed around into that area and free up that hot tub area. That'll make it easier to get over here and deal with the tropicals in this spot. I'm not going to do this in this video, but I do need to get these big blue planters cleared out. The petunias, they're doing great. They're all the way down to the ground, but they're looking pretty scraggly at this point. So I need to just get those heliconias out of there. And I still have the yews. I never planted them up. The ground, I couldn't get through the ground over there. I took a drill and just started popping holes everywhere and figured I'd give it a few weeks, see if it loosens it up. Anyways, I think I'm just going to pop the U's back in these for the winter time. They did well, and I think that they're great there for, you know, that half of the, it's not year, you know, November through spring. Having those out here, they worked well. Why am there's no reason to talk about this much. I'm not going to do anything about it right now. So over here, the basils, they were pretty wilty. I gave them a drink. Maybe I should hold off for like 15 minutes. Let them do some drinking. This basil, when it wilts down, if you move it, that you can permanently damage the stems and cause little ends that look like they've dampened off the way a seedling, you know, it pinches in and gets a brown. You can then have to chop them a lot. So you need to give that a few minutes. You need to get the alocasia out of here, although I have just loved having it over here. It's so pretty. This is done wonderfully. Let's, find a bucket. Let's do that. I want to hold on to the gravel. I'm not taking this thing into the Growspace with all that gravel in there. That's just asking for trouble. Pests and things can head in there, and it's going to hold too much moisture in around the base of the plant, and the alocasias during the winter months will not respond well to that. What are you doing? You having yourself a little dance party? You cleaning? Oh, he had a little itch. Had to scratch. Yeah. All right. Well, okay. The waiting game. Back in 15 minutes or so and start moving some things out of here. He's such a funny dog. I love having him around. I am just now realizing that this might be just absolutely awful on the audio and probably not that exciting to watch me grab rocks and just come over here and drop them into a bucket. But that's the reality of what's going on. I'm going to get the rocks out of this container, out of the alocasia, then out of that bromeliad, so I can get that bromeliad lifted, and then I'll be done over here. I will have moved all of the tropicals from, I'll say from the windmill palm all the way down this wall. Everything's been moved. It's not inside yet, but I've just been taking everything and putting it, well, you'll see. Oh, look at that. See that root? So that had a bunch of rocks underneath it and on top of it. I get asked sometimes about whether or not you can cover up these roots that come out the top. You want to be careful with doing that, but this one, since it's been in the dark and had more moisture, see the tip of it, so it's kind of a lighter color to it, has some give to it. I'd say in this kind of situation where it was covered and hadn't been exposed to light, it's okay. So I need to grab some potting mix and get some more soil on top of there. Okay, that's good. It took a while to get all those rocks out, only because I was trying to be mindful of it, spread them out into proper containers for the rest of the year, and I had some excess, so to figure out what to do with those. Now, everything over here, just do one of those. For the most part, everything right here, these are small things that go on the shelves and on the tables. Those tend to be what take the longest to get moved inside. Things that go on the floor, it goes a lot faster. So I thought, well, maybe do things differently. Usually I take the big stuff in and then I worry about the shelves, or just kind of take some big things in and just mix it up. And I'm like, well, why don't I start gathering all the things that go on the tables and on the shelves right over here, with the exception of like the foxtail palm and just other things. This is everything, for the most part, everything that was down over here. So from this point, pretty much everything from right here all the way down is done. Actually, all that's really left on this entire side of the yard is going to be, well, this cordylan I want to pot up. The caladiums, I'll probably dig those up. Then I have these 4 spindles right here, 5 spindles, and then aloe. And those are easy. Spindles are so easy in the wintertime, at least in the Growspace area in the house, smidge bit more challenging. But I just put them in there. I just drop them in there. I hardly even water them. They get watered from the water that runs underneath when I water everything else. They always do fine. Sometimes they lose some fronds, but they push new ones out real fast. Oh, yeah. Here we go. Moving in the right direction. I haven't started putting everything back together yet and trying to make it look nice, just because, well, there's other plants that will be involved with doing that, and you get that plastic ripped out. I have the fountain coming in the mail that is going to go over here. I actually think I just got a notification. I think it's going to be here today. So that might be in this video. I don't know if I'm going to film setting that up or not, because it doesn't fit with anything else that's happening here. But maybe I will just do an unboxing in a separate video in case people are wondering more about it. I don't know. This spot is open now. I can get it cleaned up. I need to move that. I trimmed all the gingers out of here because they were getting in the way of this door, which I don't use that often. Still, it was too much. I've mentioned before that I would actually like to lift those ginger clumps out and replace them with the Slim's orange or just nothing, and just let that spot be open and pop some annuals or smaller perennials down in that corner. because it was just too much chaos. Especially it's just looking great with that one huge branch that Chatalpa put up. Gotta love it. And now I was able to get in there too once I had the gingers cut out, and I was able to see that hydrangea that's in there, it's a quick fire fab. Toast. It got totally smothered out, which is another reason those gingers gotta come out of there. They're just too big for that spot. Are we wearing you out? I'm sorry, Turbo. Okay. This is great. I didn't need to do these things right now because I still have an entire week, over a week, really, but I'd like to have this done in less than a week to get everything moved in. And I have so much cleaning left to do in the garage, but I don't know, it's nice to get outside and know that, hey, that stuff's all prepped. And I was tempted to go ahead and just start grabbing everything that's small and goes on the shelves and put them into one spot so it'll be faster to move them in. But the grill cart is full of things that need repots, and so that slows things down. So you know how it is. You got to do one thing to do another. And yeah. I don't know what's going to happen next, but we'll pick up with something. Okay. Are you... Gosh dang it. Me and my lens cup. Look at that. What do you think? Isn't it beautiful? I like it. Need to fix this area up a little bit, but that'll be happening over time. Not at all the point of this video, but I just thought, you might want to see it since I teased it. There it is. It's beautiful. The spotlight right here. So that was in this crab apple, and the cord on that, somebody has like a 3-foot cord, which is really stupid for an outdoor product, but that seems fairly standard with a lot of things. So that wasn't long enough to get to the power strip thing they have down here, so I had to unplug it from over there and then plugged it back in, and I put it right here, and then it can just shine on the fountain. I think that looks quite nice. It's little, and it's lightweight, and there'll be more information on it in another video. I went ahead and I filmed the unboxing and the setting up and everything just because, I don't know, it's kind of fun with these sorts of editions, and it was a good deal. And since it's, not really a specialized product, but a very specific thing, I don't want to squeeze in setting up a fountain into the menagerie of all the other stuff that's going on out here. I do think that video will probably be out before this one, but I don't know. My brain is rotting trying to keep straight all the different things that I'm filming right now. And I'm trying to get a bunch of the Wednesday midweek videos done and taken care of before I have all the end of the month chaos coming up here in, October. It is October. Oh good, the Aurelia's bouncing back. Whew, that thing looks so bad. It's already showing some signs of looking happier. I'm going to take these begonias over here. I think that would be a nice color to have back in the shade. And if my voice sounds tired, it's not. I'm not tired. But it's my allergies and the dry air. My throat's feeling hoarse right now. Do some of that. Yeah. Look better if they weren't in their plastic containers, but that looks good. Not repotting those right now. I don't even think I have 2 pots. I don't. I have 1. That's the right size for those. I have another one of these over here. Try and squeeze you over there. Oh, these do need to be repotted though. Look at all that. That's just bulging out of the container. Okay, well, hey, you know what's nice about this spot? They're going to get a good amount of drippage from the fountain, which typically I'd say isn't great for begonia. With this drought we have going on, I think that they'll probably benefit from that. Huh. I don't know. Maybe I liked it without them. It doesn't matter. I'm just piddling around because it's too late to work on a bunch of other things, and I want to keep moving things around over here and playing with things, make it look nice. That's not the point of this video, so stop. Just stop with that and get back to what were we doing in this one? Oh, putting plants away. Okay, here it is. End of an era. Had many years and many fun videos together, but well, that time is over. There's goo. What's the goo? Why is there goo? I was sad about this until I got goo on me, and I'm ready to just get rid of this frickin' thing. Long time. This thing lasted, 7, 8 years? Pretty sturdy. Had tons and tons and tons of water and dirt and it's been through it. I have no complaints. 7-year review. Give it a thumbs up. And get it out of here and cut back, and there'll be a new desk here. I'm a little sad about it. Holy crap, look, I found this underneath there. This has to be from 2020. What's the expiration say? June 7th, 23, maybe 2021. Back when I had the cancer and all the skin grafts and everything, which was 2020, my doctors had me chugging 3 of those things a day. And they're only 12 carbs. I went with that one specifically because it's only 12 carbs. Pretty good. It's one of those things where I see it, I'm like, I never wanted to look at that again. We're supposed to cut back to a new desk. Well, I got to pick some stuff up first. I have all my crafty things under here. I should probably clean this up. What do we think? Oh, I don't like it. It's so quiet. There's a new transformer being put in. So there's like, a dozen electricians outside. There's just like a whole entire fleet of giant trucks down the street, which is a great time for me to be out here working, right? Nothing to do inside, no power. Here's the desk. What do we think? It's a lot bigger, which I know doesn't make a big difference for you all who are watching, but for me, it is very nice because I can sit here and have something in frame right here and have things off to the side. I couldn't do that on the other desk. It's only 7 inches, so the other one was 40 inches. This one's 47 and a half, so it's a little bit more room on each side, which is going to be nice. I think that this is going to work out well for videos because it's kind of a matte finish. Feels really cheap because it was. This wasn't too terribly expensive. It folds up. It's magnetic, so I can keep my paper towel holder down there. I don't really like the faux marble finishes on things unless it's very convincing. It's not all that convincing, but I just think it's going to be a lot easier to keep clean. The other one, something I loved about it, but also hated, was that it had a really deep wood grain in it, which was beautiful, and I liked it, and I really liked the way it looked on camera too. But it was very hard to get clean because the dirt and everything would get way down in there. So, a few times a year I'd have to just like take a bucket with soapy water and just scrub the whole thing and dump it and rinse it. It was a whole ordeal. Whereas this, it's much more smooth. So things just wipe right off. Squirt a little pledge on a spot like that and hopefully it'll come off. And if it ends up being that I don't like this, then I can just put contact paper over it, right? Hopefully it holds up to the humidity. We will see. That was the thing. I was really tempted to just order another one of the desks that I had to get rid of because that one lasted for 7 years. It was really sturdy. It went through a lot. Barely even had any rust on it. So it's just really the top that was broken. With the cost of wood these days and my time, like I might as well just buy a new whole entire desk with a new frame that doesn't have any rust up. I'm sure it will sooner than later. Even in the garage, I had to pause for an airplane. And something else I like about it is that the feet, this like cross beam right here, it doesn't go all the way to the ground. The other one that was flat against the ground, so it's a lot harder to sweep underneath there. I've been sweeping, doing all kinds of cleaning. And this is taller. It's a lot higher. The other one I banged my legs on it a lot. This one, lots of space. Hopefully won't be too reflective with the lights when I film. I don't know. We'll figure all that out. If I have to put a cloth or something down, then that would be an option. Or some panels of wood might be an option too. I have some leftover flooring panels from what didn't get used when... Ooh, a monarch. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? It's gone. Oh, you got to see it for a second, didn't you? All right. Well, I haven't seen a lot this year, so that's exciting. Also kind of late, dude. You need to hit the road. Almost November. I mean, not really. In my head, it's almost November because I'm doing all the late October, November tests. So that's the desk. I love it. I'm not going to link it because I've only had it for a few days. It might be a complete and total piece of garbage. I don't want anybody to get it and then have it just turn out to be absolutely horrible. So but it just is what it is. Over here, this is what I've been working on, are the plant shelves. I also realized I need to get a new floor. I mean styrofoam. But I mean, it still functions. So do I really? Just look a lot nicer. I had a whole bunch of extra shelves on these racks. I think these are just called baker's racks, right? These are 48 by 24. And I don't have a ton of shelves on them because I have all the space for the plants that are on them. But these extra shelves were taking up a lot of space. I'm trying to get things sorted and organized, and there's so much you can do with the shelf. So I went ahead and I just tripled up right here. And I found some more of the little inserts that you put on these things right here. That little black piece, that's what you put on to help hold the shelf in place. And I put the last shelf all the way up there. Not ideal for watering, but that's what scaffolding is for, right? Just, take the leg, get this plant out of the way. Then you can come up here and okay, hey, look, there's the plants. There is a downside though. Pardon the awkward pause there. These hooks on this shelf, I forgot to take them off, but I think that that's actually okay because this needs to be at a steep angle for drainage. There's an actual drainage reservoir on this end, and you need everything to drain that way to go into that reservoir. So I'm okay with it. I don't have a one of these guys right here, the Petunia 2x4 rack with 4-inch drain. I don't have one for this shelf. I can order one when I have to, because I like to have something where, so like when I water up here, that flows out a hole, collects in this basin, whatever in here, it's going to get some of that water, and then that's going to go down and collect in that basin. Just how this has always worked. Traditionally, I've kept things on this top shelf, which was formerly right here, that were pretty sturdy. Just like, don't fuss with them plants. You know, I have like a tomatophyllum over here and a rubber tree down here in Elastica. That, too much light? Interesting. How's that even possible? This light hasn't been on in a long time. Well, I think it's probably, actually, I think that was too dry for a while. So it should snap out of that. What I'm thinking about doing is taking all of my aeroids from this shelf and popping them up here, because the higher you go, the more humidity there is, and the more warmth, and they really are the most low-fuss plants that I keep out here. Most of them are in self-watering containers, so I don't have to water them as often either, which is very nice. I just think that'd be more suited for this spot over here. Just a thought. I don't know what I'll end up doing, but that's what I'm thinking about doing. I have more grow lights in the mail. I ordered them last night, and then I got an email this morning saying that they'll be here between November 4th and December 2nd. Well, it was a really good sale. They were 50% off, so I guess that's how that goes, right? See, I already have some things moved, and the aeroids, they were in here all summer. They don't like being moved, so I just left them in here. And this is all seed stuff that I started, and then just kind of was like, I don't feel like starting the seeds anymore. I don't like those Jiffy grow trays. I tried them last year. Really don't care for them. They don't transfer heat well from the heat mat, and there's no domes that fit on top of them, so you have to makeshift something. And they're too expensive for that garbage. If they included a dome, different story, but they don't, so they suck. Oh yeah, that's where I am with everything. Got some sticky stuff on you. Yep, feels weird in here without noise or airflow. It's also very hot. It's very warm. It's like 86 degrees. Yeah, we'll pick up later doing something else. Maybe there will be plants here. I don't know. It has been a very busy 24 hours. That thing where you have to make a mess to fix a mess, I hate it. Did so much yesterday, yet I feel like things are messier now than they were before, which they're not. That's just a thing in my head. I have a pile of things over here that I need to sort through, all my little fountains I used to keep on the desk when I would film videos, and I've gotten through the pile of mostly drip supplies over here and things that just, some things, well, this is what's left. Things that need new boxes, put them into totes. Those sorts of things. All of this has now been handled. Things were sorted out between the recycling, the trash, and the donate, and recycling, lots of recycling. And the shelves are finally accessible again. I had to get rid of and donate so much stuff. And a lot of it was old aquarium supplies. I used to have tons and tons of fish tanks, and I still have several. But I was like, I don't really need, 5 air pumps and all these extra filters and things like that. So I went through and I just picked out a few things of each to compress everything down to one tote that has like some carbon reactors and little like emergency type power head filters I can toss into tanks if the big filtration breaks down. An old Pond Master pond filter in there, which I hate. I hate those filters, but they're expensive, so I'm not getting rid of it. And for the first time, something I have always wanted out here in this garage was to have a section with all my gardening supplies. So I did always have a section, which it's behind the pots. But these two shelves were pretty much all gardening stuff, and I was like, it's not enough. I needed more space. So I consolidated and extended things this way. And then the old, you guys, if you've been watching for a long time, you might remember this thing. This folding, whatever it is, cart. It's a folding cart. This isn't probably what I should end up keeping on it, but that's what's there for right now. I figured, well, that makes for better shelving. I just don't like stuff sitting on the floor, especially gardening things. It's when they get gross. It's when mice get to them and it attracts critters. So that's nice. That's nice. I have my trays over here and some moss baskety things. And those are actually lights that I'm going to probably send up to the attic. Those are spotlights for the garden. They all work. But we don't need them outside this time of year, right? There's just no reason. Got all the car stuff up there. A lot of this was light bulbs, too. It was all various grow bulbs. A long time ago, all the lights that were up here were just floodlights. They were spotlights. They were these things, right? Nope, not that one. These, right here. The plants actually grew really well with those. They did. But then I started slowly changing over to those Sansai, whatever, grow bulbs, and pulling those down. But they still worked. So I had tons of those. So I got all of the lights and everything reorganized and packed back up properly. I have all my car oils and lubricants and fluids up there and bulk cleaning supplies. And for some reason there was 3 gallons of vinegar. Why? I don't know. I didn't do that. I didn't buy 3 gallons of vinegar. I use it to clean tanks and sometimes get hard water spots off of pots. So I don't know. And I use it for cleaning a fair amount, but I didn't buy 3 whatever. I don't know. I'm not the only one who does the shopping around here. Things add up sometimes. You know, like for example, we don't need to go into all that. And then these are more of the like things that I use more frequently in the garden are going to be from here and down. I have my bare tree and shrub, which I know a lot of people don't like this stuff, but I put it on a lot of the tropicals when they come inside. It's a systemic. It seems to work really well. I have a thing of biotone starter. That's not where I keep most of it. I have most of it in a shed type container outside, but I want some in here, some fertilizer, DE powder, the bonide stuff, and then like the deadweed brews and this. I don't know where this came from. It's pretty old. I cleaned it off, so I'll go ahead and use it. I have it. And then my root stimulator right there next to the watering can. All of this stuff is gravel that I would like to repack. Like these are small pieces of lava. They're various tones of lava, and those are for bonsai. My bonsai wire and a lot of my bonsai type materials. And here are some really pretty rocks. I have a nice rock collection of pretty things to put underneath plants and trees. Have just a little thing of neem max over. I have more that I need to bring over. Some root stimulator, vase fillers, pebbles, snips, and more vase fillers. Yeah. Oh, and a stack of very small pots. Oh, and then I have irrigation and bird feeders. Because those things go together. It just is what it is. I only have a couple of bird feeders, and everything else these are various sprinkler heads that are in there. And then I have another tote. It's really an old pond basket that's full of different types of pruners and clippers and a couple of hanging baskets just sitting on top. I could consolidate those better probably. And there's a floor. Look at that. Has absolutely nothing to do with bringing the plants inside, but I don't know. It needed to be done. A lot of this stuff goes to the attic or is going in and out of the house, things that are being used for the remodel. I have a carpenter who's been working on things and he's left, but he's back. I'm putting down some new floors and whatnot. So as far as everything over here is concerned, I added some new lights, which I'm pretty excited about. Some of these are lights that I got late last year, and they were on sale. So I got them last year and waited until this year to get them put up. That was partially because I wanted to go through and change some things up, which I had mentioned. So the aeroids are up over here now. They are harder to get to because they are very high, even on the scaffolding. I don't think I can really get the best. Well, no, if I hold you guys up high, you can get a good look at them. But watering them might be a trick. The scaffolding does get higher, but then I need a step stool to get up onto the scaffolding. That defeats the purpose. This shelf is not going to stay like this, but it was just stuff that was in the piles, or some of these actually had some plants in that weren't looking too hot. So this one had a veitchii and therium in it, and so did this one, which they're not for me. We don't do well together. So I tossed them. They still had some firmness to them, but most of their leaves were gone. And I was like, just get out of here. I prefer to devote my space to plants that don't require as much humidity and consistent conditions. So those are gone now. And this would make more sense to not be here, because when I water up here, that water is going to come out from right there and spill down onto everything. It's better for there to be a tray here to catch that and to be able to direct it down to the next one, so it's not pouring all over the stuff and on the lights. Well, I am still going to order another tray, and then need to find a better spot for some pottery and some other things. I still have a few more pots. I'm mostly keeping things in here, so all my Talavera pots, those have to come inside for the winter time. I don't have to do that right now. Because I don't think we'll be dropping below 32 anytime soon. If we do, it's going to be very brief, not like, you know, a hard freeze that's going to kill off the pots, kill the pots, make them break and crack. That's generally like a really, really hard freeze when you have moisture that'll do that. But I have things over here. What's right here, I have things that I want to drill holes in. So I have this really pretty pot that needs a hole drilled in it. This is an African violet pot, so that doesn't need a hole. But these two right here, I got to get holes drilled into these two. Isn't this one pretty? It's aged very nicely. I don't know where it came from. I can't remember, but it's got to be nice. I like when the pots get that, the hard water stains, I guess is what that is. I think it looks nice. And then I cleaned out trays. So I took the trays. Oh, I'll go over here. Can I just, no. I bet I can. I bet I can do it. There we go. That was fun. Okay. Yeah. So it's not squeaky clean, but I got a lot of the junk out of it, and the reservoirs are nice and clean. All this up here right now are, the rubber plant and this lickety-split somatophyllum, which is really stretched out. Something that I just haven't really been certain about up here was, well, when it comes to moving those airways, I was like, well, they're not going to be getting any natural light. They didn't seem to care about the natural light. All of them were growing away from the window. So I guess that doesn't matter. I don't know. I'm going to add another light up here. I mentioned earlier in the video I have grow lights that are on their way, but they won't be here until like December. But I have one or two to go right here that'll hopefully just get these guys to grow more upright instead of leaning out towards the garage. These could have been growing towards the window. They went this way. That's very odd. The rubber, the elastic, because they just don't care. They're not finicky plants. So they'll be fine right there. The only downside to this is I have slightly less room for height over here. There's a big old moss in that window. There's slightly less room height-wise for the plants right here, but I have some, hedychiums and other things that'll be coming in here and probably going up here onto the shelf. So I'm going to try and raise that light up. And once I raise that light up, that really should provide plenty of space. You see the top of this elastic, it's not even under the light, so that doesn't benefit the plant much. However, since it's an elastic, I really do think that'll be fine. Down here on this shelf, I pulled that tray out. This one I did give a good scrub to because it had a whole lot of sediment in it. And, well, that's about it. I, just made some space, cleaned it out. Everything that was on it is staying on it. I need to water. Look at that. Everything is drying up because I put these new lights in. Let's go down and look at those new lights. I say let's as if y'all are here because it feels like you're here with me sometimes. This is the only tray that I haven't cleaned out yet. I'll get to that. This one down here doesn't really need to be cleaned out. I just need to pull all that seed starting stuff out. The grow lights up here, these are just a T8 LED grow bulb. And I don't remember who makes them, but the plants have done very well under them. So I have 4 of those up here. But I did notice last year, which would be, I think, the 4th or now probably like the 5th or 6th year that I've had these fixtures up here, the plants didn't do quite as much right here. So I don't know if they're weakening down, which LEDs really shouldn't weaken down, but the bulbs and things, like they feel a little grimy. So maybe I need to clean them. But I went in and I put one of these in the middle. It's a Spider Farmer, just a 48-inch fixture. It's not all that bright. Do these have a pull chain? Can I turn these off separately? No? Okay, well it's going to be a big whole complicated thing if I try and turn those off. But you can see it right there. You can see it has more of that warm spectrum. I saw plenty of YouTube videos from people, where they were comparing the Spider Farm and the, what was it, Vivar? I don't know. But both of these lights that I chose, what I'm about to show you next, had pretty good reviews from people saying that they really liked them. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to give it a shot, but I don't want to make the investment in completely switching over to that, especially when these really cheap shop lights have been working pretty well for a lot of the plants, but not quite cutting it the last few years where I've been bringing some things in that really would like more light. If I decide to bring in a heliconia, then that's not going to cut it. They're going to want more light, and I think some of the hibiscus would prefer some more light. I'd have some more even growth, so I'm not sure that I will have space to put any hibiscus on these shelves. Maybe I will. I always like to bring in a few because the iguana and the tortoise eat off the hibiscus all winter long, so I want to make sure I save some. The other new lights, whew, Oh, that is bright. I'm covering my eyes. It's bad for you guys. There's 2 of these, which is ample. These should be good for a 2x4 foot section. They are much more intense than that Spider Farm light over there. They have a really big transformer up there, or whatever you call this thing up there. It dissipates the heat really, really well. I don't think you can see what I'm talking about, but it's not all that hot, which I like. There's a dial on it so you can adjust certain things that, okay, all right, this is hard to see. Can you even see that? I can't because I'm being blinded, but you can adjust the intensity. So you can turn that way off, and you can dial it up. So that's nice. And I thought that there was something up here to adjust the color temperature, but I don't think there is. Yeah, since these are pretty high up above the plants, I'm going to leave them on their full intensity for now and just see how things go with that. This is going to be mostly orchids and smaller, just all the little things that was piling up earlier in the video around the hydrangeas outside. And then the bottom shelf is going to be very similar. I added a new grow light to it. I actually put 2 new grow lights on, but they're just the same shop lights that are going through this whole thing. That's close enough to the plants that should be totally fine for the plants. I have always had just one of those down here, and for years I'm like, oh, I should add another one, but it's hard to get them onto these racks. This is the way you have to do it. So I'm going to come in and wrap that chain around them. And that's just hard to do when these are full of plants. So since I had the opportunity while this was gone, I got another one hung up down there, which I think is going to make for much happier plants with much more even growth. Look at how great the Scindapsus did over the summer. Yeah, I just left it in here just to do its thing. It barely got any water. Like, barely. You know, I remember to water in here a few times, but not a ton. And it just grew and grew and grew. It was very happy just sitting underneath a light that was not on, by the way. These lights, they weren't on most of the summer. When the day length started to get shorter and there was no light coming into any of these windows, I flipped them back on. So that was, you know, maybe a month and a half ago. But it's just been chilling. It really likes being tucked in the back where I can't smother it to death. By smother it to death, I mean, you know, do normal houseplant things and make sure that the soil is evenly moist and just forget that, you know, these they like to dry out some. For me, they do better when I make sure that they can dry out some in between waterings. Yeah, so now what I have to do is get this table cleared for the most part. What's left on here are things that either need to be repotted or fixed up. This is a cactus back here, an epiphyllum that its container broke, so it's sitting in here. I'm going to repot that, add some soil into there. This is a plant that had some root rot on it. So I'm going, well, I already did. I cleaned the roots off as best I could, sprayed them down with hydrogen peroxide and a fungicide, let them dry, and now I can pot this guy back up and then figure out what to do with these things and what's left on that table, and I can start moving some stuff in. Oh, and the waterfall. What do we think of the waterfall? I hope everybody likes it. To me, I know it's not like the most beautiful thing aesthetically, but sometimes out here the sound of the water can be too much for me. It just, I don't like it when it just sounds like solid streams. This has more of a, I don't know, like a babbling brook kind of sound, but it's still loud, still very loud. I'm okay with that though. And I had all these rocks, these are for aquascaping. They're sitting in a bin, and I was like, well, I may as well put them over here. Just let the pond water run over them. That keeps them covered in all the good digestive bacteria that we want things to have. So that's what I did with those. This is my bubble tube. I haven't had water in this thing in years. It was sitting over here in this corner. And the problem with it is you have to have a really good pump to run this thing, because it's a lot of pressure to pump air up that high. And the company that makes this, which was like Midwest Tropical something or other, I don't know, it's written on here. It's up there somewhere. Oh, turn the light on. No? No? Huh? Where are you? This one right here? No? Is that one? It's not that one. How do I get, why don't the light turn on? Oh, it's the orange one. There we go. All right. And yes, this is phase 2 once I get the other side done. Even though this looks like it's a mess, it's actually, everything that's over here is supposed to be over here. It just needs to be righted and situated better, because everything's just kind of falling over. Like, you know, that fish food isn't supposed to be right there. It's supposed to be up there. And you get it. This guy right here, you keep an LED light under it that changes colors, and it's really pretty. It illuminates the bubbles that come up through it. But again, I don't have an air pump that will run this. And the company, I don't know if they're still around, but last time I contacted them to get a pump, they were very, like, over $200, I think, maybe even more than that to get the air pump. It's, you know, it's a nice pump. It's compact and it fits underneath here. This base lifts up down here. And that's where the pump and the light goes. I have a check valve down there. I had to cut a 2x4 to fit in there because there was a small crack in the acrylic and that seemed dangerous to me. So I put a 2x4 underneath it. Did that all yesterday. And typically I have been able to run this with just a regular fish tank pump. But it's not happening this time. I don't know. I don't get it. So this is just a whisper pump, which you would think would do nothing. But for a long time yesterday, it did keep air moving. There were some bubbles coming out of there yesterday. And then this guy down here, this is a mega pump. This thing is intense, but as you can see, it's not strong enough. And that is a very strong pump. I did have it hooked in. I had all these clamped down, so there was just one line running in there from this big pump. It's supposed to go in through the bottom. That's where that check valve is. It makes lots of pretty bubbles in there. But it couldn't do it. The water was back siphoning because the check valve in there is faulty. So I need to find a new check valve that fits with larger tubing because this takes larger tubing. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if I can get this to do anything today. Oh, come on. Not necessarily a one-handed job. Oh, and I spray painted this. It was that gray color down there. It was just old and not looking all that hot. So typically, if I lift this up, that should reduce the amount of pressure and it should start to get bubbles out of it. There we go. Yeah, less pressure. So that works. But look, that's what? Maybe a foot underwater? Yeah, and yesterday it was working for a while when I had down on the bottom, but that all fell apart and you can watch the bubbles slowly get weaker and weaker. Okay, it's not doing. I swear it'll do it. There we go. See the bubble count. And then you get it down there. It just can't do it. It can't deal with that water pressure. So that's where it needs to be. Well, that looks stupid. But I'm okay with it for right now because that water needs to stay circulating. There's bleach in the water. That's how we keep it so clear. So no plants, no fish go in there. It's just bleach. It needs to keep circulating though. Because I've learned with this thing in the past that if you don't keep the chemicals in there, you don't keep it circulating, that this film builds up on things, and then when you turn it back on, you start to have particulates moving around, and this was not fun to clean. I had to take the whole thing apart. I had to lay out a really big thing of foam to put this on because I didn't want to scratch the acrylic, and I had to make sure one end was elevated. I had to use a mop. It took a very long time. Very, very long time. So it's hard to get down there to the bottom and get that all squeaky clean. So I want to make sure that water has some circulation in it so that that icky film doesn't build back up on. Okay, what else? Oh, this is new. I actually just did this between when I was talking about the bubble tube and now. It's a, you know, it's a hose holder. The thing, you put the hose on it to hold the hose. I got this. It was on clearance at Lowe's, I want to say sometime last year, and I never put it up. I took it apart and as a package, and I was like, oh, this isn't. It just didn't feel like it was going to work. And then I just had a moment of clarity when I was looking at it and said, well, just use zip ties. This doesn't have to be complicated. Just zip tie it up there. I should probably switch out for some stronger ones. But for right now, this is fine. So the hose is off the ground so I can sweep under here much more easily. I hated having that hose laying around on the ground. That was bothering me a lot. I grabbed a few plants. That Neo Regelia, the fireball, that's where it was last year, and it seemed to really enjoy its life. I don't know why, because I had one that I kept there the year before, and it just died. This one was fine with it in that exact same spot, so that's where it's staying. I grabbed some black plastic, and I put that along the top of this waterfall thing to help stop the algae from growing in there. I mean, there's still going to be algae growing in there because this is very nutrient-dense water. That's the whole point. There are fish in here, and it looks dirtier than it is. There's a lot of tannins in there. I have a lot of driftwood. You can see through to the bottom. You can see all the way down there. It's just a lot of tannins. The plants enjoy the tannins. But yes, the koi and there's other little guys. They're all still in there. I'll probably scoop the goldfish from the patio and bring them in here for the winter time. I don't have to. I could just throw a little de-icer thing in there to keep a hole in that. But I don't know. That's a whole different story. I feel like that thing probably wasn't built to go through the winter time with water in it. I brought a couple of the ties in. Well, the only two. Well, I have three. There's the huge one that's out there. That comes on last because it's so big. It takes up this entire space right here. And I was going to put them up there because I figured they don't care. I can stick them up there in that corner. They'll be fine, but they're so big already. I know that's not something to complain about, but they're just such incredibly massive plants, and these are small. And one of these I'm giving away to somebody, but they're not ready to take it. They won't be for a couple of months. So I'm going to hold on to them. I don't know. Maybe I'll put them in the house. I'd rather not, though. Is that just some kind of salt buildup or some sort of snail excrement, I suppose? I just don't know where else to put them other than to just stick them up top there. I think that they would do well up there. Anything that goes up there are going to be plants that they don't care. I know the aeroids care a lot, but the aeroids do better further away from me. So that's why I bumped them up even higher. This shelf, I think, is probably going to end up being a lot of cacti and succulents, the smaller things that are ready for a dormancy, and I can just put one dim light up there and they'll just chill through the wintertime. Or maybe I'll use it for propagation. I would prefer not to do that, though, because it's up high. Anything you're propagating or doing from seed, they need to stay consistently moist to be able to check on them. That wouldn't be the ideal spot for that, but that could work. Yeah, okay, so there's 20 minutes of just me talking about the things. I am going to finish up with what I need to do in here, which is to finish clearing off this table. And then that table, and bringing in only the most cold-sensitive plants, so the coconuts, they're going to come in. Well, you'll see. And I have all this bark and stuff over here that I'm going to put into the tote that I keep my aeroid and orchid mix in. I'm just going to dump it all in there and they can commingle, and that's where all the chunky mixes will be. I'm working on this. It has gotten a lot better, but it's a work in progress. It's just not a good spot for a shelf. And it looks a lot messier than it is because of the cords, and there's a boxer that doesn't want to stand upright. Some extension cords and everything. Yeah, the bottom shelf makes a lot of sense. The top shelf is a bit more of a cluster that I need to handle. But my main priority is getting this area taken care of to bring the plants in, and then adding in the bonus areas of just those things that needed to be done. Like clearing off clutter from the shelves that nobody's using, and having piles upon piles upon piles of things to take to Goodwill. I took a whole carload yesterday and donated to them, and there'll be more of that, I'm sure. Yeah, all right, well, I'm going to get to it when we cut back. There'll probably be plants in here, or more plants, I should say. Some of these coconuts, they did a lot of growing this year. They were very happy. They got repotted. Everything got repotted in the spring. And what a difference that made. So much growth out of these guys, which I think I've talked about in one of the garden tours. That the coconuts were just loving life this year. I'm pruning off some of the older foliage. This one was over in the garden next to the variegated sea hibiscus, which was a mealybug magnet. And I cleaned it off, but just to be safe, I'm getting rid of some other fronds. Parlor palm, that thing has tons of mealies on it. But I spent some time cleaning it up. I think it'll be okay. I'm going to spray it down. That's getting sprayed before it comes in. And I'm going to do a systemic on everything once it's in here, and then I'm going to top dress with some compost. This coconut, I had to come in, I actually had to dig out the soil because it was mounded up to here, because this one was in the ground. It was in the ground right over here. And I think another reason it loved life is because the ground right here is wet, like sopping wet. This hole right here where the Alexander palm goes, it's a basin. So it just always had water, and it was nice and warm. Give that another week or two, though, we're dropping into the 40s and stuff like that, and well, that would have killed it. So glad to have gotten that out of there. Moved a whole bunch of the little things in. I can keep working on that. Look at this poor thing. It wasn't very happy out here. I think it was getting too much sun, I'm guessing. Both of these. It's Justicia carnea. One of my favorites. I've had it for a very long time. It gets a really pretty pink flower on it. Even wondering, how does this thing root in? No. It doesn't need to be repotted. There's some give there. But on the chlorophytum, I keep doing this. I wasn't very good about keeping it cleaned out this year. It put on tons of new growth, but unfortunately, it still has a lot of its old growth on it too. Makes sense to try and get as much of that out of there as I can before the rest of the plants come in. That's harder to get to. That stuff will just shed down on top of the others. And they're so easy to clean too. And really, you can just run your fingers through them. And that alone can make a big difference. I thought this was interesting. I've been debating whether or not to repot this guy. I think I should. It's just, you know, it's an elastica, but a piece of my maxillaria orchid somehow got in there and it's rooted itself in. That's fine, it can stay. Plenty more where that came from. There's our power palm. I have been cleaning it and that's going to get drenched before it can come in. One big oopsie kind of situation I have going on out here is that the hooks are missing from some of these pothos to hang them back up. So I'm going to have to figure that out. I'm guessing what probably happened was when I put them all in this container that had that big Dracaena reflex in it, I bet I took them off and I was like, oh, well, that's fine. You need to repot them anyways, and that's going to force you to repot them. I mean, true, it is, but I hadn't taken into account the other things I got to do. I really don't mind having to prune on the plants as they come in. I think it's just a sign that they did well during the year. So this would have been a growth that had on it when it first came out in the springtime, and then it pushed out lots of new growth on it. These right here, two of these, one right here and one back there, stuck to me. These are the Veitchii, Montgomeryanas. Potted these up last year. Actually, I think, was it? I don't know, some time ago. I want to say this is their second winter I'll have them in here. And last year they were really tough. They just grew. And they didn't grow excessively. That's largely because I think I should have probably bumped these up into a larger container this year. But there's still some give in there. But they're going to be top dressed because the soil one they're in is draining way too fast at this point. I was going to come in here and prune on these guys, which I for some reason keep on calling Penangas. These are not Penangas. These are Chemodorea tehepelita. I wrote it down, but of course that didn't last. Really great cami palms. They really are. They're absolutely beautiful. They stay nice and small. So you can see this would be a good indoor palm. They haven't been very fussy. Oh, and they flower all the time. They have really nice inflorescence on them. I thought I needed to prune on these, but I guess it was just that stuff. Yeah, things are coming along. I've been working on some of the repots. I got the pothos repotted. I potted up a sweet potato vine too. I need to put a hole in this container. Because that was the problem with it in the first place, was that well, it wasn't draining well enough. The water was just getting too high in there, and that's why this thing got root rot. So popped a few overflow holes in there so that it could never get up too high. I don't have to worry about drowning the poor thing again. Oh, man, they need water so bad. I'm holding off only because there's still so much moving going on that I don't want to have water everywhere. They'll be falling over. Although I suppose I should probably water in these pothos and the sweet potato vine, because, you know, they just had their roots torn up, and the sweet potato vine, that thing started to wilt almost instantly. Is what it, oh good, lots of fleckaballs going in there. Didn't think that one through. Measure it out very precisely, follow the directions, and then give these guys a nice drink. This one over here, which is the Snow Queen, it had a big chunk that had reverted on it. So I cut all that out, and then I gave it a big prune, and I wrapped the stems around on there so that, well, it would just look more full. And I took a few cuttings and poked them in there because there wasn't a lot going on. Oh, there's a leca ball stuck in the tip of this. I'm going to push it back down, but I have a feeling it's just going to come back up. Yeah, it's not too bad. It's a split stream. So that's going to look much more full when it gets going again. This one over here is called the Yesenia. It's just a green with a very, very mild variegation in it. I cut a ton off of this one, like probably 6 feet worth. I could probably cut some more off of there. Get it to fill back out in the middle. The sweet potato vine, I don't know if it's worth it. I really just thought it would be fun to try. I have the, what is it, Shadow Storm over there. That's the one you just saw. And then also the maroon burgundy something or others on my front porch. I might go ahead and lift one of those and bring them back here. Having a thought. Hold on. Hold on, I'll bring you with me while I complete my thought. What I'm wondering is if I should just bring the whole oh look. Look, fall. Doesn't feel like it was 86 today. This is very bizarre. I'm very thrown off by everything. Yeah, it's so pretty. I just hate to let it go with the frost. Even though I can buy a new one for like it's proven winners, what am I talking about? $7.99 to $10.99. Could get another one next year. But I don't know. I'd like to see how they do through the winter time. These have been planted up longer than that Shadow Storm. That Shadow Storm didn't come up with a tuber. And they come up with a tuber, it makes things a lot easier. And what I was getting ready to say is, should I just take the entire basket in? This one is huge. That is easily 5 to 5.5 feet across. This thing is a monster. Absolute monster of a begonia. That didn't take up a ton of space. But it would be really cool. Don't know where I would put it, but it would be really cool. Well, in the meantime, while I try and figure that situation out, we'll just do things the easy way. Really, I think that's too big. I don't think I can bring that in. No, it just doesn't seem like a great idea space-wise. Because I still have, okay, so there's 2 pothos that are hung up. I probably should have repotted those too, shouldn't I? Oh well. So those 2 are up, and then I have 2 more to hang up. And then the sweet potato vine, which I kind of think I probably should have put that in a smaller pot, and I should be doing those over there, I think. What's done is done. I have more. So this one I'll hang up over here. I'll pull up another one and just put it in a normal pot and keep that under there. The lighting's just much more intense over there. The pothos and the chlorophytum, they can take the, dim, weak light from that little shop light right there, but sweet potato vine, I don't know. Seems like a big ask. I have a bunch of little chlorophytums, pieces that fell off the spider plant that I tucked down into there. Some of that sweet potato vine. I have another stem from one of the dark shadow sweet potato vines that I put in there about a week ago, and it's doing really well, so that might work out. The rest of this I'm going to coil up, and I'm going to get it into a bag, I think, to keep it hydrated, and we'll get that potted up another time, like within a few days, but that's not a priority right now. I'm supposed to be moving plants inside. And the whole point of doing this earlier than normal is that it gives me more time to think and do things like, well, propagate some stuff. Except I'm not going to propagate those. I might dig them up and bring them in. That thing with the cutting, that's not propagation. Remember, those might be patented. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not selling them, so just don't worry about it. Calm down. Protecting my purchase. That's all I'm doing. I'm just ensuring the purchase that I originally made is going to continue on. There's nothing on the tag that says you can only have it for 1 year. Anyways, yeah, back to moving plants inside. I might go ahead and repot this one. Whoa. Oh, wrong direction. Was that the wrong direction? I don't know. Look at the roots on this guy. They're so healthy and succulent. I love that. Probably could have held off on repotting this one until the spring, but I figured, yeah, well, I'm already out here. And I don't want this one to be a pain in the butt to keep hydrated during the winter time. So it's in a clay pot that is sealed on the inside, but only very lightly. So, it's a pretty one. This is Alocasia Appaloosa. You'll see a video. I don't know. At some point, maybe the one after this, I don't know about this plant. How freaking cute is this begonia? Begonia fuchsioides? I don't remember, but it's adorable. I had forgotten about this one. I went ahead and I repotted it. It's been having a little soak there. I put it in that pot that I was talking about earlier, and I said, oh, that's cute. So it's in there. Good, well-drained soil. And it could use a bath. It got dusty, but that's just so stinking cute. All right. It's hard to see the flowers. There we go. Beautiful begonia. Really nice, tidy little foliage. It's too much. Because I forgot that I still need to gut this bottom shelf out. The lower growing succulents will go down there on the bottom. That'll free up some space up here. The praying hands mangave, it's too tall to go down there. It'll be like right up into the lights. So I don't know. This will probably just come inside. I just have a nice window somewhere that, it's a succulent area where I can put this. It'll be fine up there. I have an orchid with a beautiful spike on it. It has 2 spikes. Actually, there's another little baby one. Back down in there. This is a Oncidium cherry baby. This flowers smell really, really good. And then, it's just everything else. White devil or white monster, monstera over here. White monster. And then some little tie cuttings and variegated leucocasia, Frydek, the xanthosoma, Mickey Mouse, and on and on and on. I put the Xanthosoma Lime Zinger on this shelf, which is not where it's going to stay. It is way too big, but I need it to go ahead and rebound and open up. It needs that light. And once, you know, maybe 2 or 3 weeks when it's looking more sturdy, I'll go ahead and shift it over here to this shelf. I think it'll be a much better fit for this area over here. I still need to bring in a few of the medium-sized plants that go onto these shelves. There's a hibiscus I'd like to repot first, and then that power palm that needs to be cleaned up. I have a geranium out there I'm going to repot and bring in. I was thinking about maybe digging up the vinca and trying them out. I mean, why? They're trailers, though. I think that might be annoying. They're not going to get the light on the edge of the shelves. You know what I mean? No, I don't know if I'm going to do that. I brought in one of the dragonwing begonias that just needs a little bit of TLC. So I can just take this and just go cut that back and put it right over here with the pothos, and ideally it'll flush back out. Actually, I might have a better bet if I were to cut it back and leave it over here closer to a grow light. I just thought it'd be nice to be able to watch them flower throughout the winter time. Just nice to have some color going on, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I've been saying that a lot lately. I have the agaves over here. These are the Desmontiana Galaxy, I can never remember. Traveler, they're really pretty. They have a very pretty variegation on them, a Sansevieria, and then everything else you've seen. There's an orchid sitting here that I will probably end up moving. I don't think it's going to want to be right there. This Oncidium, the past few years, I've just set it right there, and it's done wonderfully. But I'm broke. Don't fix it, right? And I did get that neon pothos repotted. It's up there. That shouldn't do any harm. There might be people wondering why you're repotting right now. That seems to be a spring chore, and that is true. But it's pretty warm in here during the winter months. There will be a few weeks between, I don't know, mid-November and January where things are more cool. And I don't have the heat up quite as high, but around mid-January, I tend to crank the heat up. And we're into about the mid-70s to low 80s in here. And so things typically stay in an active growth when that's going on. The main thing is that they have a good, I'd say, 4 to 6 weeks of time to root in with that root stimulator. It's going to take them longer than that to fully root in, but just to get their roots moving into the fresh soil around the base of the plant, and that usually is just fine. The main thing is this has to be more mindful about them not being waterlogged or having cold drafts on them, anything like that. Oh, and there's another coconut. I need to bring in the other coconut. King palm out there needs to be repotted. Yeah, I'm doing a lot of repots as I bring things in. It just seems easier that way, just to get some of that old soil off of them. Anything that looks like it could use it. And then there are other plants like I talked about, like these palms in here. I'm going to top these off and put some compost in there just to liven up their soil, but I don't think that they're really needing a repot just yet. All right, here it is. Everything's mostly done. Garage is cleared out, mostly. So I have some stuff to organize over here. So I haven't brought in the large plants yet. I'll do that at another time. I need to wrap up this video because I got a bunch of editing to do and some other things going on. But this is the bulk of it. The big plants, they're not in yet. I'm not bringing them in just yet because I have this foil insulation, more of a heat reflective barrier, that I want to get put up around these other spots in here. It's a lot easier to do that when you don't have the giant, palm trees and monstera in here. I don't know what else there's to update on other than, it's really just time to walk around and have a look at things. I did so much repotting. I gave this hibiscus a fresh container because it was just one of those ones where I was having to water it constantly. So I bumped it up from its, standard 10-inch nursery container to whatever Monrovia size that is, the 7 maybe. Have freckles over here inundated with systemic. So I don't know if I mentioned, the systemic goes on everything except for what's edible or something that flowers heavily. Not that there are a lot of pollinators in here, but just to be safe, there's not any on this begonia over here. And then the basil, which I haven't brought in yet, but that won't get any. The pothos, I didn't. The chlorophytum, I didn't. The hibiscus, I didn't, because those are all things that get eaten by the iguana and the tortoise. Got the aspidistra down there. I did go through and top dress, as I mentioned. So there's fresh compost on top of everything, and then that systemic. What did I do with the systemic? I know it's pretty taboo, and we're not supposed to be using systemics. People get upset about that, but I just say use it responsibly. So be responsible. Where did I put it? Oh my goodness. It's like I've had my head cut off. I've been just misplacing everything today because I've been multitasking so much. Well, it's the Bonide systemic is what I ended up using, and then some of the Bayer one. I like that one too. The orchids. There are orchids in here and a fern. They were covered in mealybugs to the point where I almost just threw them away. But I was like, that's kind of silly. Usually I can just swish them around in the water for a little bit, and that gets a lot of them off of them, and you just have to really keep a close eye on them for a bit, like a few weeks, and stay on top of removing them. I like to do that before I resort to using any type of spray, because the orchids, they just get really spotty. Even with neem oil, I find that they get spots all over themselves. All the coconuts are in, so I don't know if y'all had seen that, but I have the red spicata, the green, and the yellow. The yellow is now hanging out over here. This is just the green. Yeah, might need another spray. This guy right here, oh, I haven't watered in this side, so this stuff's going to be watered in. So you can see there's this systemic right there. I watered very gently. And the other ones, the systemic is in the containers and just ready to, well, that's the same thing all the way around. They all have a little bit in there. It's ready to go in. And then I will do a soil drench as well, only because the mealybugs were so bad this fall. I think the worst I've ever seen them on the plants while they're outside. So I just, you got to stay ahead of it. So that's why the systemics are really hit or miss with mealybugs, but it's just a good way to get things going. Start off the season by making sure you have something in there to help flush the stuff out of the soil. It's not just systemics. There's earwigs and all kinds of crap down in the soil. So when you water that in, that helps get some of those critters out from the potting mixes. I have the aloes over here. They're not where they're going to go permanently. Really, until I can get this dang Lime Zinger Xanthosoma out of here, which is already growing since I put it in here this morning. But that's already opening up and loving life. Once that puts, a little bit of growth on it, I can move that down here, then I can really arrange this how it's supposed to be. But until then, this shelf is going to seem pretty crowded because it has that giant plant right in the middle. But moving that will free up some space. I dug up the Aphelandra. This was in one of the Chinese fan palm planters. I went in and pulled it up, tossed it in a container. It's down there. I have some plants that got some sunburn on them. They're going to be okay. The Monstera albo, this summer I took this plant and I laid it flat across the garden bed where my drip irrigation hits, the misters hit. And that was it. I just let them lay solid on top of it, or flat I should say, flat across the surface of the soil. And the plan there was that, well, these are going to root down into the ground. It was a heavy layer of mulch that they could root down into, and they did. So I pulled it up and I chopped everything that had roots on it and got them potted up. So I got 1, 2, I think 3 that are in here, and there are a couple more that I'm going to need to do tomorrow because they have actual roots on them, not just the aerial roots. And so I may as well just cut and chop and get that plant properly. Because this thing grows like a frickin' weed. I have no issues with just cutting this thing all the way back till it's just like, 2 feet tall. May as well. It just encourages it to branch out and look even better. So these are the cuttings. This was a nice one. Look at the size of this one, too. It has a good amount of roots on it. I already potted it up, so you can't really see it. But there's a good amount of root on that one. This one's a little bit more plain Jane, but it's real. Well, that's not really. That's not plain. That's a beautiful one. Well, one of them was pretty plain. It must be the other one that's back there. Kind of plain. Oh, the variegated spathiphyllum. This was sold as a Picasso, and I've had it for a few years and I'm very disappointed in it. And so this year, I just kind of tossed it out with the rest of the plants. And it was getting a lot of sun and very little water, and it just thrived. Apparently, it just wanted to be kept in all the ways that I thought it would not want to be kept. Good to know. I popped some hedychiums up there. It's a Tahitian flame and a vanilla ice. I pulled them out of their old soil, gave them some fresh soil. Those are just cuttings. I have a really big hedychium that's out there. I repotted that with some fresh mix, and I'm not going to bring that in tonight because it got sprayed, so I want that spray to dry on the plant. Before I bring it in here, down here, it's all succulents and a geranium and a coidium. Like I said, things are a little bit unorganized. No, they're not really that unorganized. I'll be moving some stuff around. Usually when I bring the plants inside, it's just pure chaos and mayhem. And then I finish the video saying, this isn't where anything's staying. I still have to rearrange and everything. That's not the case this year. For the most part, what you see is how it will be. But there's no reason I can't move things around as the season as the season progresses. And I have more whites coming in for everything up there, so I'll probably be shifting some things to make room up there. I brought in the various begonias. This is one I can't remember the name of, the double dot over here. Isn't it beautiful? It's beautiful. I have a billet philodendron over there. I got that epiphyllum, whatever it was called, can't remember. But got that potted up, so that should plump back out. Now that it has some fresh soil in the mix. Some bromeliads. There's still some more bromeliads to bring in. There's still some little things, and then mostly the big things. So the big Dracaena, the Monstera, the Areca palm. I have some foxtail palms that will probably be going in the house. Probably not be coming out here, but they may stay out here for a little while. And then I have all those spindle palms and some bamboo palms. I don't know for sure if they're coming in or not. They're pretty covered in bugs, but we will see. I don't want to bring anything in that is just covered. Bamboo palms are harder to clean the bugs off of, right? Anything else I brought in, I've seen a few mealybugs here and there, I just squish them. But the bamboo palms have so many nooks and crannies and crevices where those things can get down into them, and it can be difficult to eradicate the problem when it's like that. Here it is. I found it. Not on the shelf where it goes, but that's all it is. It's imidacloprid, 0.22%. Pretty good stuff. I do usually, with a systemic, prefer a liquid that you feed into the plant. That's why I generally use this, then water it in. And then maybe a couple weeks later, I do one that's a soil drench as well, just to make sure I'm covering all those bases and that it's actually going to do something. And the biggest thing is to make sure it reapply. That's where I always fail. So I'll start off the growing season and things are great. Not too many pests because I spray things down before they come in. And then before you know it, it's February or March, and I didn't reapply in December. And then it just is all kinds of hell breaks loose. Don't do that. Don't be like me. Remember, I have a reminder set in my phone. Of course, I always have a reminder set in my phone. It doesn't always mean that I remember to do it. I didn't dig up any vinca and bring them in, but I had this one coconut that was underplanted with this, Bluephoria mandevilla and the tattoo orange vinca. I don't really expect them to thrive there, but we'll just see what happens. And I still have plenty of time. Because I got all this little tedious work done early, I can still go through and pick some other annuals and maybe bring them in. Because things are organized in a way where I actually have a lot of room this year. It's not going to seem like that at all once I bring in the big Monstera, and then there's a big Cordylan that's going to come in here. It'll be back there. Areca palm will be over here. Oh, the croton, the giant croton that needs to come in still. That big Dracaena. And all of the alocasia. So I haven't dug those up to move them in yet because I don't think it's necessary. They can take some cold. The ground's going to stay warmer. They're not in containers. They're not exposed. So chances are it'll be a couple weeks until I dig those up and bring them in. When I dig my alocasias to move them in, I tend to just cut off all the foliage, dig them up, knock out any muddy soil that's around the roots, and just drop them into a pot with some soil. And they will take up some room. Those are really going to eat up some space in here. I decided against bringing in my dwarf banana. It just had a funky growth habit on it. I wasn't crazy about it. So I don't want to, try and take care of it through the winter. I already have some bananas in here. My two Musa Floridas, they're in here. I don't feel like messing with. Oh, the parlor palm. I completely pulled that out of its container and washed its roots and everything, and I'm going to repot it tomorrow, and then that will get moved in here. I don't think there's anything left. I have some agaves down here on the floor. This is the Joe Hoke. It's a Desmatiana. I don't remember the name of this one, but it's beautiful. Isn't it beautiful? Just got that one this year. I've had that one for a couple of years now. This is where I kept the Joe Hoke last year, and I was like, well, it's not going to be happy there. And it was perfectly happy. So, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? It can hang out there. Main thing is to make sure that not a lot of water is coming over and pouring into the centers, and that they're not very wet during the wintertime. Because down on the ground, things are much more cool, even on top of the styrofoam. And some of these things really are pretty much just where I had them last year. I have the Camedurias in the same spot, the Veitchii roughly in the same spot. This is pretty much like this last year. I did toss an Anthurium in the mix right there. There's still a good amount of room on this shelf. I really didn't take the time yet. I'll work on that tomorrow to move the larger things to the back and bring smaller things to the front, and that's all stuff that I can do once I bring the Power War Palm in the front. So Power War Palm will be in that back corner. It's always done really well there. So again, no reason to change things up. And once that's in place, I can move some other things around. Like these aloes, I don't think I actually want them right here. But maybe if they are going to stay over here, then I'm going to want to lift them up onto something. Because from what you all told me, it's my first time trying this particular aloe. I have two of these. The Safari Sunrise, and I don't remember what the other one is. It's a Safari something. But apparently these can be very, very finicky about being wet Safari Rose. Which is, that's an aloe. That's not shocking. But because of that, I want to make sure they go someplace where they're lifted up and they'll never sit in any of the water in the drainage trays. Oh, I popped a coconut over here. We'll just see what happens with that. That was a coconut that I really just planted up for fun this past spring. I hadn't really anticipated overwintering it, but it seems okay enough and happy enough. And I have the new grow light in there. I'm just really curious to see how things do in here with that new light up there, that spider farm one in the middle. Oh, and a Pachystaches lutea. Potted one of those up and brought in. Oh, whoa, is there no drainage in this pot? Uh-oh. Really? Oh my gosh, how have I not killed this plant? I have had this for over a year, and I've just been watering it like there's no tomorrow during the growing. Oh my goodness. That's why I did so well this summer. I didn't water it, but this is, look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Good to know. Another container that I need to pop a hole in. I'm not even going to hang it back up because I will forget that I need to get a hole drilled into the bottom of this pot. Okay. All right. Well, so the Scindapsus had a nice long soak. It had a couple of hours to take in some water. Let's pop that right there for right now. The Pachystaches, as I was saying, they tend to be pretty resilient. We'll see what it does because I just, did lift it up and then put it into a container there with fresh soil. So I'm sorry I'm stuttering so much. There's just so much going on in my brain right now. Not really stuttering, but saying and I try not to do that. It's a bad habit, and that's not one that I want to adopt. It's easy to fall into the habit of saying and a lot when you're talking, and I don't want to do that. So it might need a cutback. I may need to cut it back and let it re-sprout from the bottom, but I figure we'll just give that some time and see what it wants to do. It'll probably be okay, because they're pretty sturdy, and I got a good amount of root out from underneath it. Typically for me during the winter months with these Pachystaches, I'll grow them kind of like I would maybe a Lantana or a Bougainvillea during the wintertime, where I let them go more on the dry side. They may droop, they may even drop some leaves, and then when things warm up and they're getting more light, then resume watering and they go, oh, it's so nice to be alive. But on the shelves, I think that won't be too much of an issue. Better light, more warmth. Just going to leave it and see what it does. Oh, the mangave, the praying hands, I tried to put it so it's in between the two leaves up there. Lights, so that it won't get burnt. That's something I was concerned about. Having it in between should be okay. I'm interested to see how the colors change on a lot of these mangaves, particularly this guy right here. It's supposed to take on a really pretty red color. It's called Thunderbird, but it just wasn't getting quite enough light during the summertime, so maybe it will do that out here. Yeah, time will tell. So much time left. Oh, and I just realized that I forgot some of my cactus and succulents. So I need to remember to do that tomorrow. I'm going to put a reminder on my phone. I still have a few things out there that I need to bring in. But for the most part, all of the little tedious things that take a really long time, done. Done weeks in advance. Feels great to have it. Just something I don't have to worry about now. And I was able to take my time with things and try and make it look nice for everybody for what will be where all the videos are going to be filmed whenever it's too cold outside to do stuff in the backyard. Oh, the one tie, I put it right here. I don't know if you noticed that. So I do have one up there on the shelf and one down here. It was just too much to have them both up here. This may have to be moved once the heater's up and running. But I don't know. We'll just see. Hopefully it can stay there because it looks really pretty, but that's a lot of hot air. to have blowing down into this spot. Just have to wait and see. On that note, the heater. This is the Dynaglow X Series 10,000. This is a total piece of garbage. Don't buy it. Absolutely would never recommend that heater. This is my second one. They replaced it with a warranty. I was just out of warranty. So I repurchased it with a store credit last year. And within 5 months, it wasn't working right. So this time they've given store credit, and I'm not going to get another one of those. Never again. I don't know what else they will have that will work, so I probably shouldn't say that just yet. But the problem with this heater is it kept doing things that could burn down the house. It'll just run. I have it turned off at the breaker, so it can't do this now. But it'll just be running, but no fan. So it'll be really hot over here because the heating elements are on, but there's no air coming out. There's no fan blowing around it, and that's when you have it off. There's nothing on the screen. It just will be on with no fan. That's extremely dangerous. So that heater's gonna go, and I'm gonna put something else in there. If anybody has any recommendations, let me know. I'm interested in trying new things as far as that's concerned, because this one, it wants to kill me. And that was another reason that I wanted to start getting this area more tidied and get all this handled, was one, because I'm going to be bringing on all these plants, and I know that stuff's just going to keep moving in and out of here. If you have ever had floors done, it's a thing. There's going to be a lot of boxes and things moving in and out of the house, and there needs to be a path through here to put in the new heater. A nice wide open path to get up there and handle that. I haven't brought the iguana in yet. We're still having plenty of nighttime temperatures where it's warm enough, but by the time this video, the video will just be out in a couple days. You know, a week or two. I don't know. As soon as temperatures are dropping below 50 consistently and it's not going to be warm, then I'll bring him in. There's a heater in his enclosure, but I just don't think it's nice for him to have to rely on the heater. It probably just feels safer in here, right? I love them. They're so pretty. So pretty. I'm glad to have those back in here. They're outside on the table for a lot of the summer. Last thing, the Ipomia Shadow Storm? Yeah, Shadow Storm. It's perking up. I wasn't sure how that was going to do, but it's perking up. That's great. I may put another light over there for it. Needs something more extreme. I decided I do want to try it as a basket, because the shelves, there's still some room, but I want to push it. Not until everything else is in here. That's something, I'll give that until, say, December, when I know all the plants are in for sure and there's nothing else coming in. Then I can fine-tune some things. Speaking of fine-tuning, I did repot this Elastica, the Ficus Elastica, the one that had the little orchid growing out of the pot. This is not when I would normally do that, but I could just tell it's going to be a pain in the butt this winter, so I give it some fresh soil. I repotted a whole bunch of other things that are still outside. They'll be coming in over the weekend, and I think that does it. Y'all get the picture, right? Nice, probably, I assume, very long video with a lot of stuff going on, a lot of before and afters, and I'm excited about this winter. We're not too winter yet. It's still lovely outside. This just had to get done. The last 2 weeks of October for me are going to be very, very busy, and I didn't want to get stuck in a situation where they say it's going to be 40 degrees and instead it's 28 and I have to rush everything inside. That happens. Many, many, many years that happens, where the forecast will seem good and then you have 24, 48 hours notice that it's completely changed and you got to rush to get everything inside. I don't want to do that. I don't have time for that this year. So, yeah, it's good. It's done. Well, mostly. All right, hey, hope everybody's doing well. Having a great day, a great life, and it's going absolutely beautifully for you. Comment down below. Say hi. What's going on in your gardens? You got your houseplants moved in yet? And, of course, as always, and most importantly, everybody, keep on growing. Bye.